Something that I always like to say is that games in the horror genre seem to have greatly helped me reduce the frequency and intensity of nightmares, while still allowing me to feel immersed, trapped, and very much alive during gameplay. While starting to explore the ironically joyous world of horror gaming, I did encounter one game which really stood out and personally caught me by surprise, as everything about it felt like a replica of a more or less recurring nightmare, something which made the game feel tailored to me, making the journey so much more real and petrifying. Welcome to my little rambly corner, where short episodes go through what exactly made a deep impact, where each and one of us may bring up what first comes to mind when we think back to a journey, perhaps something which lingered in the mind for long after you stopped. Do let me know your own thoughts. I will be reading through each and all of your comments, as will likely others who view this episode. Until then, here are my unforgettable memories from the hidden gem by the name of Pineview Drive, along with the likely reason for the deep impact. I grew up in a very old and somewhat large house, and many of the various furniture were old-fashioned and seemed to favor decorative means as opposed to comfort. This feeling would be amplified up the noisy, twisted stairs leading to the next story, the second floor, which was locked down for the first half of my childhood and not really accessed after some distant relative had passed away up there before my time, although I did have some few opportunities to join a family member up there on the haunting abandoned floor. Outside this usually locked door was a hatch in the ceiling with a slidable ladder, allowing an airy and claustrophobic climb into the small, ancient, pitch-dark attic, full of web and dust, with long-forgotten items scattered around. One could have thought that the attic was the creepiest place to be, but the second floor was perhaps even more haunting to me, at least before it was finally opened up and somewhat renovated. Family members refused for the longest of time to use that floor. The entire house was said to be haunted, but not as much as the second floor. I am the only family member who haven't seen something that should not be with my own eyes, although I do sometimes wonder if I actually did see something but have blocked it out. Although I have not seen, I have otherwise experienced things in that old house that made my blood freeze to ice, things that have been difficult to explain, and whether there be a natural explanation to them or not. I am so happy that I am no longer living there anyway. In many of my nightmares over the years, I do find myself in a similar house, but with many stories below ground, decaying of ancient age, many rooms and lounges, as were I in a closed-down hotel, centuries-old rooms with old furniture covered in excessive web and dust, convincing me that this is the house I grew up in and returned to. Then it begins. It is impossible to explain, but it's definitely there. A ghost, a spirit, a something which I cannot hear or see, but I can feel it. It's coming from the walls around me. Its aura is pressurizing. It wants me gone. No, it wants me dead, as if the house itself is possessed. And I can do nothing but desperately search for an exit while feeling as if my soul is slowly being devoured and crushed. And this is where Pineview Drive captures me and does not let go. It's my nightmare that has taken the shape of an immersive horror game title. Its haunting soundtrack makes me feel as if there is something in the walls, something that all of my senses say is not there, but my instinct screams to me that danger has me surrounded and that I am far from safe, and it makes my mind blank out. As I explored this game, the hallways and rooms looked less decayed than in my nightmares, but otherwise it felt exactly the same. Instead of feeling like hotel rooms and lounges, they felt like off-limit rooms or long-lost attics. Gradually uncovering keys to new hallways and rooms, it was easy to get lost. I remember ascending a set of stairs in the game and entering a new room in the far other end of the house. It felt more like ascending up to the second floor in the old house of my childhood memories, seeing the room devoid of modern age and life, and a chasing sensation that I should not be there. Now, I will have to say that this game has much more to offer in terms of both story and scares. A woman in white dress had sensed my fear of the paranormal and really spiced up my anticipation. And who can forget that playful goddamn toy clown that seemed to move around every now and then? But in between paranormal events and clues, and in between the recovered diary entries, my memories and nightmares of old haunted rooms vividly sprung to life more than I thought they could. So, Pineview Drive. I would dare you to stay there come sundown, but I would not wish that upon my worst enemy. Heed my advice. Stay away from this accursed place. Should you have curiosity despite this, then it does not need to end here. There still exists some lost footage that I have been able to recover from this revisitation that allows you to see this place for yourself without putting yourself at any risk. A link to this recovered footage will be provided in the video's description. Perhaps you are much braver than I, so by all means feel free to spend your night at this otherwise really stunning place. Good luck. Good night.